Okay, I'm gonna start this off with a little bit of a warning. I've never played any of the God of War games prior to this one. I saw them and I was like, yeah dog, that's interesting, but that's not my jazz, you feel me? You know, looking back at it, they seem like perfectly good games that I should probably try. Okay, now back to the actual game I'm reviewing. God of War for the PS4 is a game that I expected not to like. I knew the older God of War games were more of a hack and slash type game, and knowing that, I was super worried about the sudden switch of game styles. I'll admit I had little faith that they can pull that off. Ambition is great when it comes to developing games, but sometimes drastic changes lead to disappointing results. So, I started the game up, dusted off my PS4 controller, put on my G Fuel hat, and embraced my gaming heritage. It was time for me to give this game a shot and see what it brought to the table. The answer is a lot. It brought a lot to the table. Starting off, I'll cover the first thing I noticed the moment I touched this game. This game is beautiful! Hell, the beginning, Kratos just breaks the tree down in a Greek genocide-induced rage, and the whole shot is stunning. You can see this man's pores. I've played a lot of pretty games, but this one, man, this one is really stunning. It makes me feel happy just looking at it. This is the game that makes you realize how far gaming visuals have come. The visuals and cutscenes are insane as well, really delivering on small things like hard impacts from attacks, eye movements, facial changes. You can feel the emotions in these actors. Yes, I'm calling them actors because these fuckers really deserve it. Also, a little minor thing here, but I like how the game is shot like one camera is following Kratos the entire time. Like there's no loading screen really. It's just right behind him. It seamlessly goes into a cutscene. That's cool. I like that. Now when it comes to good visuals in a game, this shot of the turtle is specifically what comes to my mind. That's my jam right there. Also, I know this is probably minor, but the ice effect that Kratos Leviathan Axe has, it's awesome. I really like it. That's something I just wanted to get out there. I'm sitting here trying to come up with problems with visuals, and honestly, I can't. Locations and set pieces are some of the best I've seen in any game. I've got nothing but good stuff to say. Except that I hate armor sets that cover Kratos' glorious chest. You don't maul this man to look this good and then cover the midsection up. Visuals are great, but let's be honest, it's not at all the most important aspect of games. So I'm gonna move on to something that's way more up my alley, and for most people is the most important aspect of any video game. You remember when I said about being worried about the series switch from hack and slash to RPG-like? Yeah, go ahead and forget all that. This game is fucking fun. The combat to start, not even focusing on RPG aspects like enemy levels, is brutally satisfying. Kratos hits like a truck. You beat him up with a sick axe and then, what's this? Oh, bring out the fists and the shield, pummel that asshole into another dimension. Now, I may be biased here, but I love RPGs. I love the idea of finding gear I could put on that would just let me gain higher stats and take more damage or output more damage. That's my shit. So it's pretty satisfying for Kratos to find more gear for himself as well as Atreus. Speaking of Atreus, this kid has a whole button assigned to him. Atreus mainly shoots arrows, but as you continue upgrading him and progressing through the story, you'll find yourself using it more and more due to the usefulness of his attacks. From pure damage to amazing stun rate that allows Kratos to do massive attack damage. Oh, and even though it's more rare that I used it, he can summon like different shit, like ghost wolves, and that shit's rad. Now I know I said I love the RPG aspect, but that's also the biggest negative for me. Armor's fun to find, and it's not necessary to grab all the best armor, but there is a point where you might want the real strong stuff. And you have to go to Niflheim to get it. Fuck Niflheim. This place is shitty. It's a grind fest of shit until you get real good gear. I hate it, it's dumb, and I don't like that it's here. This is a great time to remind everyone this review is opinion-based. Other than that aspect, the only real negatives I have in gameplay is some enemy types suck. Literally only the Wraith things. Those are the worst. Oh, and the Valkyries are really fun fights that I enjoyed, but they really felt like last-minute additions. Instead of fighting the same giant over and over, I would have preferred bosses as advanced as these, but that's just me. The gameplay has those minor setbacks, but it's a thrill ride from start to finish when it comes to beating up bad boys. But to me personally, the most impactful games don't just have good gameplay, they have a little something else that keeps me wanting more. Being as this is definitely not the first God of War game in the series, I thought it would be lost as hell. I even watched a few videos to explain the plots of the other games. Nothing big, but like literal bullet points of what happened. However, I'm an idiot, and I didn't realize this game is essentially like a soft reboot. Rather than Greek mythology, we learn about Thor and his psychotic ass. Seriously, Marvel Thor is nothing like the original. The original was a psychopath. With this change in mythology, the game relates little to the original series, which for a new fan like me is perfect. God of War opens with the death of Kratos' wife, with the main mission being honoring her last request by carrying her ashes to the highest mountain in all the realms. The game puts its biggest focus in Kratos' relationship with his son, who by the way I had no idea existed in this game when I first started playing. But without knowing that Atreus is in the previous games, God of War shows you by revealing that Kratos is a shit father that Atreus hardly spent any time with, basically painting a picture to the player that this is an entirely unique story and separate from Kratos' old adventures. There are some references to the previous games, and all you really need to know is that Kratos is a fucking psychopath that killed all the other gods. Dude was kind of the bad guy. Back to the story of this game, Kratos and Atreus is the main situation. There's other stuff going on and that's great, but the story that grabs you is the relationship of the father and the son. Watching them grow from distant and almost on stranger levels to being the ultimate team that now understands each other. Kratos grows from a cold, almost heartless father to a man that respects his son and would die to protect him. Atreus is shy in the beginning and harbors a great deal of resentment that, to him, the wrong parent died, and grows to be a little piece of shit, honestly. But then the fucker matures and becomes exactly who he needs to be. The story is small in scale to others. Kratos isn't killing every god or on some revenge quest. He's just trying to get some ashes up a mountain. Just there's so many factors in the way that make it a challenge. In fact, this is one of the best aspects of the game, but it leads to my only negative of the story. There's always a part of me that wants that bigger scale, that wants to go to the other realms that are shown. Kratos begins in Midgard and then travels to Alfheim, Niflheim, Muspelheim, Helheim, and Jotunheim. Yeah, that looks like a lot of realms, but there's a catch to that. 2 of those realms are little challenges, and 1 is just a single location. The last 3 realms are shown on the realm travel screen, but you can't go to them. I get that it sets up for a sequel, but I'm judging this game on its own, and teasing that extra bit of traveling without giving it makes me a sad lad. Especially when the realms we have don't all feel complete. God of War, despite any negatives I mentioned, is an incredible story that is simple, but also complex, being both small in scale and massive at the same time. It's the tale of a father and son that learn to appreciate each other, and realize that without each other, they would never have made it this far. It's heartbreaking, heartwarming, and at the end, you'd wish your actual father loved you. Yeah. This game is remarkable, and I would play it again on any opportunity. I tried my hardest to find negatives in this game, but even then, it blew me away consistently. I'll give this game a 4 out of 5. Not a perfect game, but one of the best I've played and a personal favorite. Buy this game now, or I'll probably eat your bed.